The Lakers, that's not really hard thing to do, man. You're playing with two premier superstars in our league with LeBron and AD. These guys, record speaks for itself, the name speaks for itself. And, when you have guys on the floor of that high caliber, I don't feel it's going to take that much getting used to, because I don't feel like, I have to play with one particular style, really. I just basically just want to do anything that it takes to win the game. That's all that really matters.
Harrell from the Clippers on Friday, and they also added the Raptors' Marc Gasol, who they originally drafted back in 2007. Now take a look at this. Harrell was asked a very interesting question today.
Did you feel like the Clippers wanted you?
I mean, that goes without saying, brother. Apparently not if I'm, on the other side.
Okay. I like that answer. All right, NBA front office insider Bobby Marks is here after a very busy weekend. Bobby, I want to start you out on the West. You really like what Portland is doing this offseason. Why?
Oh, I like them so much that I think they're the second best team in the Western Conference
Whoa.
right now. And this is from a team that finished 8th, barely got in, beating Memphis in that play-in game. And this is why I like them. Of course, we've got Damian Lillard back and C.J. McCollum, Josef Nurkic. But this is what I call the $40 million club, right? They were able to make 2 big trades, Enes Kanter for Mario Hezonja, Robert Covington for Trevor Ariza, and then they went free agent shopping. They bought back Rodney Hood, Carmelo Anthony, Derrick Jones Jr., and Harry Giles. And Ryan, what it does is interchangeable positions, right? You can kind of swap guys in and out. Jones can come in here. You can maybe go small. We also have Gary Trent, who had played great in the Orlando bubble. Maybe he goes for Nurkic and we go small ball. I'd keep an eye out for Trent on an extension, too. He's up for maybe 4 years, $50 million. But I love what Portland did this offseason.
Very interesting team. By the way, getting Zach Collins back, that's a big addition as well. So we're now 4 days into free agency. What trend are you noticing compared to past years in free agency periods?
Roster spots. Right now, we have 90% of roster spots filled. Training camp starts next Tuesday, December 1st. The trend during free agency is if there was an offer made to an agent for a player, they took it. There was no shopping around here. You have guys got like Ersan Ilyasova, Taj Gibson, Hassan Whiteside are still all out there right now, and there's not many spots for these veterans right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting offseason. Season just ended. We're getting right into it, and you got to get a roster spot quick is how it played out. Bobby Marks.
Assigning nice and busy times right here in the middle of football season for NBA insider Brian Windhorst. So can we start with Giannis, our 2-time reigning NBA MVP, because he enters the final season of his contract, as we all know, but he could sign the Supermax, 5 years, $228 million to remain with the Bucks. What sort of ripple effect could that have, Wendy, on the rest of the league going forward?
Well, Hannah, it's really everything. To be honest with you, we just had the craziest week of NBA transactions in league history, but nothing is more important than waiting on this Giannis extension. If he extends, the Bucks are the gigantic winners of this offseason. If he does not extend, we're going to see a mad rush and dash to prepare for his possible free agency next summer. And if you look at moves that teams have made across the league, whether it's the Miami Heat signing 4 players to 1-year contracts, whether it's the Toronto Raptors tailoring the contracts of their players so that they have more room next year, or the Dallas Mavericks making trades to clear off guaranteed money, those teams believe there's a chance that Giannis may not sign it. And so the whole league, in one way or another, is sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for that decision.
Okay, so let's really play this thing forward now. Let's talk about Anthony Davis, because the whole world expects him to return to the Lakers. So how potentially could what Giannis is doing or ends up doing impact the type of contract that AD ends up getting?
Yeah, it's unusual for AD to delay his re-signing for this long. And one of the things he could be watching is what Giannis does. If Giannis elects to sign the extension, then we could see AD potentially sign for longer. But if Giannis sets himself up to be a free agent next year, I know it seems hard for them to believe that the Lakers could do it, but that might spur Anthony Davis to only sign a 1-year contract with a player option, which is the kind of deal that LeBron James is on, to leave flexibility in Lakers payroll. So there's a lot of people watching Giannis Antetokounmpo right now.
I know that that as you were busy getting all this information, you probably had one eye on the football screen, as we all did yesterday, and stood up when we heard Derek Carr's audible in the Chiefs-Raiders game last night. Let's take a listen.
Eastern Conference Finals appearance. And the Lakers, fresh off the title, agreed to deal with Marc Gasol. They drafted him originally. Defending champs are reworking their front court, trading JaVale McGee to the Cavs to clear up some space for Gasol. All right, it's not official until Woj says so. Actually, sometimes Woj says so, then it becomes official. But in any case, we're going with these stories we just told you about. Mitchell and Tatum, the extensions. Why do these deals make sense for the players and their teams?
Two foundational cornerstone players for both franchises, the kind of players that you build around, that guys want to play with, that represent, your organization. Those are no-brainers, both 5 years with the opportunity to make nearly $200 million for both Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum.
All right, Lakers win the title and say, let's get a new guy in the 5 spot. Why was that move made?
Well, a great opportunity there. Once Dwight Howard left for Philadelphia, they bring in not only Montrezl Harrell, but now Marc Gasol, a much more skilled, future Hall of Fame player, who can do so many things on the court, offensively, defensively, rebound. And, I think for Marc Gasol, a chance. Remember, this is the organization that drafted him. He was traded for his brother Pau before he ever played an NBA game. Now Pau's out living in Southern California. He'll be near his brother and have a chance now to win another NBA title. He won one with the Raptors.
Woj using just one of his many phones. Thanks for joining us.
Yet another NBA championship. The Lakers have already pretty much renovated that entire roster. They picked up the top 2 bench scorers in the NBA, and Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell. Also improved their three-point shooting by adding Wesley Matthews to a team that ranked 21st in three-point percentage last season, and re-signing KCP to a new 3-year deal. Yeah, that should help in that area also. All right, to dig a little deeper into NBA free agency, we've got our front office insider Bobby Marks with us, and give Rob Pelinka and that front office in LA a lot of credit for what they've done for the team that's about to be defending a championship. But considering what they've done, what else can they do?
Yeah, rarely do we see a team flip their roster over, right? Of course, they still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but Wes Matthews, Montrezl Harrell, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, of course, is back. Dennis Schroeder, they've added. Now, this is what they have left to do. They've got 4 roster spots. They only have the veteran minimum exception that's worth about $2.6 million. But here's the challenge. They are hard capped, so you need to fit those spots under that number, $6.5 million. The challenge becomes and here's a player that's being linked to them, is a player like Marc Gasol. To get Marc Gasol, it's got to be on the veteran minimum exception, unless you can try to work out a sign and trade, possibly for someone like JaVale McGee. The hard part is he only makes $4 million, so you've got to make the money work. But so far, this team has really reshaped itself. Best team in the West right now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if Gasol wants to go west and try to win a second NBA championship. All right, so let's talk about some of the another team, Bobby, that maybe he's not getting the attention it deserves based on what they've done with their roster.
Yeah, that's the Portland Trail Blazers. That's a team that was just fighting to get into the playoffs last year, sneaks into the 8th seed. I've got them as a number 2 team in the Western Conference right now. Yes, they get an A+ for the offseason. I know we don't give trophies for the offseason.
No, we do not.
But they're getting it from me. And I think when we look at their roster, here's what they've been able to do. They've added Robert Covington from the Rockets. They've re-signed Rodney Hood. Of course, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Yusuf Nurkic is back. But this is what I really like. Carmelo back for another year. Derek Jones from the Heat. Zach Collins returns. Enes Kanter. Harry Giles, and this is what I call them. I called it the $40 million club, right? Kanter and Covington in trades, free agents, Hood, Anthony Jones, and of course, Harry Giles. And where I see them, this is a top 4 team in the Western Conference.
They're way up there in the Pacific Northwest. Oftentimes they kind of get overlooked, but you got to give Neil O'Shea credit for what they've done so far. And Bobby Marks said they're number 2 in the West right now.